Here we go. Running good too. Fired right up. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm the one and only infamous Kentucky Yankee, without a doubt. I've been working on a Ford Ranger that I hope to put a turbocharger on someday, and it is a 2002 chassis, engine, all that stuff, and a 1985 body. Today I hope to swap all the wiring over from the 2002 chassis onto the 1985 body and fire it up for the first time. If you've missed previous episodes on this Ranger build and you're interested, I'll put links in the description below so you can get caught up. Throughout this whole build, my theme has been simply showing all of my mistakes and things that you will run into if you go to do a build like this or any kind of custom build. Too many times I watch YouTube videos where people do these kinds of projects and everything just falls together like butter. That's simply not reality, and I'm going to show you how it really is. For a briefing, why am I taking this all apart like this? I'm taking it apart in units, kind of like they would assemble it at the factory. And the reason why is it's just going to be so much easier for me to access all the wiring. See here behind the dash and on the steering column, everything that I'm going to need to get to. Another reason is because I want to use this airbox setup, this air conditioning and heating out of this newer truck instead of the older truck. So now I have access to that and can see what I'm doing. My goal here is just to rough everything in, get the wires kind of where they need to go, and get a first start out of this thing. Something else you guys need to know, this is basically a prototype, this cab. I can cut it up and do whatever I want with it because we're probably not going to use it. I have a better cab out there. When I bought this truck, underneath, the cab looked nearly perfect. But when you look here, inside on the firewall, see that big hole right there? And it's rusted all down through there. Another giveaway spot is just right here on the other side. See, you can tell it's rusted out underneath the slave cylinder for the clutch. And it's just badly rusted, this firewall and all this area. Unfortunately, everything I do to this truck is going to have to be done twice, but I'm willing to go the extra mile so that I have a really nice, clean job in the end. One other thing, I want this dash and interior to be just as original as possible. And that's going to be tricky because I want all the more modern features of that other truck. So I have to use some of the electronics and newer switches and things like that. But I want it to look like this. My plan was just to slot the top two holes out, but I had to do the bottom just a little bit, and I'll show you why. I slotted the top going up because that would be the strongest way to do it. But the problem was when I got up too high, it got too close to where the bend is on that little aluminum bracket, and I couldn't even get the nut on. So I slotted the bottom ones just a little bit so that I could get the nut on there. Something I'm going to address later, the rod position and the pedal position don't match, so I'll have to work on that. While we're right here at it, also another thing that's not going to work is where these wires go. This circle where the wire is, it's a square on the other truck, I'll show it to you, but this circle is too big. For now, I'll just leave the wires like they are and plug it in on the inside of the cab just for a test run, but when we get ready to do the cab ready for paint, I'm going to take this right here and cut it out, a big square out, and then panel bond it to the other cab, and we'll have that nice spot right there to put the wires through. Just an inside view, a little glimpse of these square connectors coming through the cab, and I'm just going to plug them up inside of the cab for now to the wiring harness. The fuse box and ABS module and all that stuff laid in there, generally where it belongs. It's looking nice. All this stuff's fitting good. I'm not thrilled about ABS. I'm not against it. I'm not thrilled about it though because this block is heavy and all this stuff takes up a lot of room. But I need this module right here, which is for the cruise control. So later down the road, we may or may not keep the ABS. I just need to make a decision on that. But for now, it needs to stay just like it is. And because of that, I'm not going to go drilling holes and stuff for this bracket and everything until I decide what I want to do with that. Also, the fuse block is kind of where it belongs, and I'm just kind of roughing things in, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Things are looking good. Things are fitting well. Looks like I got a little cleanup to do in here. You just gotta love old trucks. No treasures today, not a single one. But if you guys are like me and as broke as I am, there's a little pile of dirty change there. That's mine now. There's our harness ready to transfer into the other truck. Before I do that, I need to get the ignition switch off of this column. This anti-theft thing with a key, we gotta work all that out. I'm gonna take this stuff off, hook it into the wiring harness, and then we'll go from there. The square I just cut out is for this wiring harness. It goes through the floor right there, and that runs to our fuel pump and stuff underneath the truck. Petrol tank is installed, but not so good. Last episode on this truck, I shortened the frame. When I did, the gas tank fits in between it, so I was only able to use the back bracket. The front bracket right there is not being used because it doesn't line up, so we're going to have to deal with that. Just another thing I ran into, and things you will run into when you're doing this kind of stuff. It's going to need this mass airflow sensor right here to run, so I'll plug that in, even though I'm not going to pipe it in. Let me give you the grand tour real quick and then we'll get started. I hooked the cluster up. I'm pretty sure on these vehicles the cluster has to be hooked up to start. I have a bunch of ground wires cobbled up there, taped together. The key is taped to the sensor right here. And this is the ignition switch, which I'll just operate like that. Let's go under the hood. Oh, I got the clutch. The clutch switch right there is just dangling and hopefully in the right position. Let's go under the hood now. I hope you guys can appreciate this as much as I do. Look at this mess. Look at that. And there's a ground wire I got going through there. And this is a ground wire. I didn't want to cut it because, you know, I'll use it later. Ground wires right here all cobbled together. There's a ground wire going to our ECM. So we just got a big wadded up mess here, and I'm going to kick it over and just see if it'll start. Guys, it cut off. It just started. My camera cut off. I don't know what happened. Check this out. Ignition switch. Hopefully it'll start again. I'm sure it will. Look, cluster's lit up. Here we go. Running good, too. Fired right up. I can't run it long. Doesn't have any antifreeze. But listen to it. Sounds good. Check it out. This thing is running awesome. Quite pleased, guys. Quite pleased. It sounds really good. This is good. So with all this mess under here, you know, she's running. That's a good thing. Already some good news, guys. Check it out. Look at that ugly cluster right there. There she sits, and the thing still starts and runs without it. Some newer cars need the cluster to start and run, but this one doesn't, so that's awesome. That is great. A step in the right direction. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This was a whole lot of fun. I was actually a little bit surprised it started up that easy, and I know we didn't work any miracles. All I did was transfer a wiring harness from one truck to the other and still have a long way to go. Next thing concerning the wiring harness is going to be just trimming the fat. You know, get rid of all the emission stuff, get rid of the airbag wiring, as much stuff as I can get rid of that I know I'm ready to get rid of now. Trust me, removing all the emissions on this truck, it's still going to do better than it did in 1985. Most likely, before I start trimming the fat on the wiring though, I'm probably going to get the transmission in it, get a drive shaft made for it, hook the clutch up to it, get the radiator installed, get the brakes working, you know, so we can ride it around. Then I'll work on the wiring again. Hopefully before I am dead and cold in the ground, we will be installing a Wu-Tang war whistle onto this old Ranger. I'm pleased with the progress. Things are moving along. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.